Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping right in today with something pretty much everyone's felt, but it often makes you stop and think, wait, am I normal? I want you to picture this, okay? Think about that really intense, almost painful feeling you get seeing something just overwhelmingly cute. Maybe it's, a tiny kitten video scrolling on your phone. Or perhaps you're holding a baby, right? And you're just fixated on those little chubby legs. They're irresistible. You feel this wave of tenderness is huge, but then right behind it comes this other thing, this weird, fleeting impulse, like you want to just squeeze that kitten, or maybe even, bite those baby legs, or crush a plush toy. You might clench your jaw, maybe even whisper something like, oh, I could just eat you up. So why? Why do we get this urge to sort of playfully harm the very things we're wired to love and protect? That's the paradox we're getting into today.
Yeah, and it's probably the most common question we hear in psychology, though often wrapped up in a bit of self-doubt, like, am I crazy? So let me just say right off the bat, if you feel this, you're absolutely not alone. You're actually in the majority. Research shows well over half of adults regularly feel this kind of temporary aggressive impulse towards cute things. And this isn't sociopathy. Okay, it's not some kind of pathology brewing. It's actually your brain doing something quite sophisticated, if a little strange. It's trying to regulate itself when it gets hit with these really intense positive feelings. You could almost call it a masterpiece of emotional engineering.
Masterpiece, I like that. And that's basically our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To unpack that engineering. We want to really understand the science behind this emotional glitch, and figure out why our systems use aggressive expression when joy just gets too intense. Okay, so let's unpack it then. This feeling, this phenomenon, it actually has a formal name.
It does.
It's called cute aggression.
That's the one. And it wasn't just, a catchy phrase someone invented casually. It was formally introduced, scientifically speaking, back in 2013 by Oriana Aragon and her team at Yale University. Before they studied it, people mostly just, they thought they were a bit weird for feeling it. Aragon's team were the ones who really measured it, defined it as this specific kind of reaction.
Right. So if we're talking scientifically, what's the precise definition? How do we draw the line between this impulse and actual aggression? Because that difference seems critical.
Oh, it's absolutely the defining feature. Cute aggression is basically a temporary urge. It involves actions like wanting to squeeze or pinch, maybe bite, or even crush something. And it's triggered specifically by extremely intense positive emotions like overwhelming cuteness or deep admiration. But here's the non-negotiable part, the thing that makes it okay and not a mental health red flag. There's absolutely zero intent to cause actual harm. It's purely an aggressive expression, like a performance, used to manage an emotion. The underlying intent is still all about love and protection.
Okay, that makes sense. As soon as you hear it defined like that, you recognize the feeling instantly. But still, the big question is why? Why does the brain go towards simulated aggression when it's just swimming in positive feelings, in dopamine? Why not just feel the bliss? Why mix in even a hint of threat?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting neurologically. Because seeing something overwhelmingly cute actually fires up two different brain systems at the same time, and they sort of end up in conflict. So first, you've got the powerful reward system. Everyone knows this one, right? You see something adorable, bam, dopamine floods your system. It's the drive making you want to approach it, look at it, protect it. That system is basically yelling, this is great, get closer, take care of it.
Pure positive reinforcement. Makes sense. Logical.
Exactly. But the thing is, the positive signal from that reward system can be so strong, so intense, that it starts to destabilize the second system involved. That's the emotional regulation system. Your brain essentially realizes it's heading towards what some researchers call emotional paralysis, like a circuit breaker tripping because the current's way too high.
So the brain kind of panics because the joy is just too much. It's hitting some kind of capacity limit.
That's a perfect way to describe it, yeah. It senses this overload coming, and it knows it can't function properly if it stays in that state of just paralyzed bliss. I mean, think about it. If you were just frozen, staring in awe at the cute thing, you wouldn't actually be able to, feed it or protect it if needed. The brain needs to get back in control, operationally speaking.
Okay, I follow that. But I'm still a little stuck on the why. Why aggression? Why is the brain's fix for too much love a simulated threat? Why not just gently turn down the dopamine instead of making you want to bite something?
Because the brain loves efficiency. And it seems to prefer using a quick contrasting signal over slowly tweaking hormone levels. It's found this, frankly, brilliant solution called dimorphous expression of emotion. Basically, to instantly rebalance those overloaded emotional scales, the brain generates a signal that's the opposite of the main intense emotion it's feeling. So that little aggressive urge, the clenching, the squeezing, maybe saying, I'm going to eat you, that acts like an immediate emotional safety valve. By tossing in a small dose of an opposing signal, it rapidly grounds that overwhelming positive energy. And that frees up your thinking again, lets you move past that temporary overload so you can actually do the important stuff like approach and care for the cute, vulnerable thing.
I like that framing. It's the brain saying, okay, snap out of it. You've got a job to do here. And,
Yeah.
if you look around, this dimorphous expression thing, it's everywhere, isn't it? It's not just about cuteness.
Not at all. Cute aggression is just one very specific, very common example. Think about crying when you're incredibly happy. People sobbing at weddings or graduations or when they achieve something huge. The main emotion is joy, but the expression looks like sadness. The brain's just finding its equilibrium.
Or that nervous laughter, right? When someone's really angry or things are super tense and they suddenly giggle, you're furious or scared, but out pops a laugh. It's fascinating. It seems like the brain consistently uses these mixed signals to handle any really intense state, good or bad.
Exactly right. It shows that the intensity is the trigger, not whether the emotion itself is positive or negative. Cute aggression is just what happens when that intensity comes from overwhelming affection.
So let's talk about how this actually shows up in the real world, because this impulse is really woven into our daily interactions, our language, even if people don't know the term cute aggression.
Oh, absolutely. The most obvious place is online, especially social media. You see a photo of a puppy, an unbelievably cute baby, and just look at the comments. It's full of things like, OMG, I'm gonna eat him, or I just have to pinch those cheeks. Ugh, that's basically a collective public venting of the urge. We use humor to make it okay, to normalize it.
We're all feeling the overload together and using the same kind of verbal safety valve. Interesting.
Precisely. And then physically, for people who maybe don't say it out loud, you often see unconscious actions, like they might clench their fists really tight or even grind their teeth a bit while looking at something super cute. That clenching, that's the body finding an outlet for the suppressed squeeze energy. It's that high emotional voltage looking for somewhere to go.
I remember reading about how this even shows up in intimate relationships, like playful roughhousing between partners.
Yes, exactly. Think about giving your partner a sudden, really tight squeeze, maybe almost too tight, or a quick, playful nip on the arm during a moment of really deep affection. That super tight hug, almost painful. That's another way we quickly balance out overwhelming positive connection. It's a brief, controlled bit of negative or aggressive expression just to ground the sheer intensity of the love.
And the food example was weirdly specific, but it really made the point that aggressive feeling towards cute-shaped food.
Yeah, it really shows how deep this impulse runs. The source mentioned this increased, almost aggressive desire to bite into, say, a cookie shaped like a cute cartoon animal. Apparently, we attack it with more gusto than a plain round cookie. The cute shape itself sort of becomes the target for that cute aggression impulse, making eating it feel more, I don't know, satisfying, like you fulfilled that little urge to crush or squeeze.
Okay, so it's clearly widespread.
Mm-hmm.
But if we zoom out to the bigger picture, the evolutionary reason, why would we evolve to signal aggression, even playfully, towards something we need to protect? Shouldn't a loving signal just be purely loving?
Ah, that's the fascinating social angle. Experts actually think this dimorphous expression, this mixed signal, serves a really important function. It signals intense commitment and value, not an actual threat. Think about it. If a new parent sees a friend clench their fist and say, oh my God, that baby is so cute, I could just die, or I want to gobble her up, I don't know. The parent's brain doesn't register danger. Instead, it registers that this little creature is so incredibly valuable, so adorable, that it's provoking extreme emotional reactions in others, too. It basically reinforces that this vulnerable young thing is generating powerful affection throughout the social group. It helps solidify this protective, emotionally invested community around the baby or the puppy. It actually helps us with our basic shared job of protecting the vulnerable.
Wow, that's powerful. So cute aggression isn't some kind of weird flaw in our design. It's actually a necessary tool. It lets us handle overwhelming positive feelings so we can actually get on with the business of caring and protecting. It's a kind of proof your emotional self-defense system is working correctly. Okay, before we wrap this up, let's just quickly reiterate that crucial boundary. For anyone listening, when does this feeling stop being cute aggression and become something else? Something to worry about.
Right, the crucial line. It crosses that line if the impulse starts to feel genuinely uncontrollable. And most importantly, if it actually develops into a real intent to cause harm, that's when it stops being the helpful emotional safety valve we've been talking about. And yes, professional help might be needed. But again, for the vast majority, that huge chunk of adults who feel this regularly, the feeling itself is just confirmation that your emotional regulation system is online and functional. It's just working really hard sometimes.
Right. So the big takeaway for you listening,
Right.
next time you feel that urge to sort of playfully squish something adorable, remember your brain is doing some complex emotional management. It's protecting you from being overwhelmed.
And, this whole idea of dimorphous expression, it raises a broader question. If our brains are always trying to find balance, what other kinds of complex, mixed emotional signals do you use every day without even realizing it? Think about like putting on a brave face when you're actually heartbroken inside, or maybe holding back a huge smile when you feel really proud but don't want to seem like you're boasting. We're constantly using these contrasting signals to keep ourselves on an even keel emotionally.
That's a really interesting thought to leave people with. Okay, looking ahead, next time on the deep dive, we're shifting gears from emotional regulation to cognitive errors. We're going to be dissecting the halo effect.
That's right. We'll be exploring why just one single positive trait, maybe someone's really good looking, or they speak very eloquent though, why that can suddenly and disproportionately make us see everything else about them in a positive light. We'll be tackling that assumption of goodness. Why do we so often assume the beautiful person must also be good and smart and trustworthy?
We'll explore that next time. Until then, keep exploring the weird and wonderful landscape of human psychology.